So there we are with all the numbers for this, the state elections that have just concluded for the 5 states, namely Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh and Mizoram. We are joined by Shyam Prasad Meka, and a noted figure. And when it comes to Telangana, obviously, Mr. Shyam Prasad Meka, who is there with us. Happy interpretation of numbers, sir, as far as Telangana is concerned. Congress getting on an average above 60 mark, 65 also. BRS sliding down a bit, 40 to 49. BJP roughly nowhere to be seen, 5 to 8. And this is how most of the poll strat figures are telling us.
Yes, Shyam
Prasad, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think the trend is more or less in line with what we were expecting, but not at the scale that we are expecting, provided the polls are right or wrong. See, our guess is definitely Congress is going to get around 75 to 80. That's what our estimate was. And we need to get the data from the polling booths, and then we might venture a fresh guess probably maybe by tomorrow. But I think this is more or less in line with what we have been thinking. And yeah, that's a good news.
Right. Indeed. When it comes to numbers, obviously, Congress, who would have believed when it comes to BRS, or earlier known as TRS, 9 to 10 years, 9 years of continuous rule there in K. Chandrasekhar Rao. What reasons do you feel that people could not have or have chosen not to repose faith in KCR's party? Whereas the figures for Congress obviously have gained a lot of momentum.
I'll tell you list out the reasons. One, it was always perceived or sold in the media as if it's a one-horse race. There is no challenger to BRS. That's the perception that the BRS was trying to sell earlier. But once the Bharat Jodo Yatra is completed, and Congress party got its house in order, and then registered a couple of victories in Himachal and Karnataka, then people saw that there is a serious challenger. That's one reason. Second reason is there is this craving for change for the people, because after the formation of the state, we haven't seen anything else. Whatever we have is only a surplus state that is formed, and whatever KCR and KTR are telling. There is no benchmark to compare it. So that's why people wanted a change. And third, Congress came up with the agenda, and not just some stupid set of promises, right? Congress did its homework, reached out to people, spoke to a lot of sections of people, understood the issues of the people, and tried to package that in its manifesto. And I think that's also gave a good confidence to the people in choosing the alternative. I think these three are the main reasons. Apart from the fourth negative main reason is there is a visible arrogance in the rank and file of BRS. There is a visible arrogance from top to bottom. Probably they might not mean it, but it is visible at every level. I think that's something that they need to do some soul searching. I think these are the main 4 reasons.
Right. Obviously, for an incumbent government and the chief minister, even the law of averages at times appears to be catching up. Now that these are the exit polls numbers, the final figures would be out on the 3rd of December. If Revant Reddy ji takes the oath as the chief minister of Telangana, what is it that the party would do differently from what KCR failed to do for the state?
I am not going to stick my neck out and say who is going to take oath as the chief minister.
Okay.
It will be a Congress government. Okay, sure. But
Okay.
I am telling you how it will be different from BRS or BJP is
Right.
every Congress worker like me, we are going to take the manifesto and sit in Gandhi Bhavan and hold this government accountable for each line in the manifesto. We're not going to leave them like that. We're not going to sit back and relax. That is what Congress is going to do. We are going to hold our own government accountable to the people of this state. That will be the major difference.
Right.
Right. Mr. Prasad, one also key aspect which the state of Rajasthan is projecting. We are coming from Telangana to Rajasthan here. Rajasthan once again ruled by Congress for the last 5 years and has the tradition of bringing alternate governments. We have seen Ashok Gehlot government also banking on 7 promises. Okay, and the promises and the guarantees we have seen in Karnataka as well. Do you believe that Karnataka actually formed the backbone for states like, say, Telangana, Rajasthan, although the numbers are pointing to a different tally altogether for Ashok Gehlot government, but do you believe that the guarantees that the Congress party is coming up with is the actual force to reckon with?
See, I'll tell you something. See, in the election strategy, you can't simply say a 10-page document, right? People can't remember. It won't register. You are giving a crux of it. You're saying 6 guarantees. People,
Right.
it gets registered. People look at what you are actually saying. So that's the tactical strategic point of view. Second is, you can see how successful it is, because once Congress is talking about the guarantees in its manifesto and in its campaign, Prime Minister and BJP is speaking our language. Prime Minister is day in, day out going and talking about guarantees. Hey, Modi ka guarantee. That means narrative is set by Congress. And the Congress is leading the narrative while Prime Minister is catching up, trying to catch up with Congress. So that's the significant change that is happening in the campaigns, unlike
Right.
a couple of years ago.
Right. A
Right, a very
critical aspect
critical
you
aspect you
mentioned there.
mentioned there. For many political pundits, Shyam Prasad ji, many political pundits also mention these elections to be precursor of 2024. We saw Bharat Jodo Yatra done by Rahul Gandhi ji from northern part to the northern part of the country, southern part to northern part. Do you believe that the impact had started paying up now and it will last till 2024 as far as the national elections are concerned?
I walked in the yatra. I'm not speaking from the air. I walked in the yatra until Srinagar. It
Acha,
has
okay,
a huge impact.
Right.
Now, many people, analysts might come and say, hey, this changed the image of Rahul Gandhi. These are all surface level issues. Yes, true, image is changed. That is a surface level issue. At the core of it, people who are afraid of taking on this regime, they got a hope that there is a challenger in this country. Second,
Right.
The center core of the political discourse is turned away from superficial issues. Rahul Gandhi is changing the political discourse right from Bharat Jodo Yatra. Today, you look at it. Because I'm a congressman, you might say I'm fully biased. Look at what will happen what will happen in a typical BJP supporter narrative. You speak to people, I speak to people. They will tell you, "Arey दुनिया में हमारा डंका बज रहा है." अरे entire world is मोदी जी के सामने झुक रहा है. भारत विश्व गुरु बन गए हैं. हमारे पास सब कुछ है, हम चांद पे पहुंच रहा है. These are all what? Good to hear, feel good, lofty talk. There is nothing.
Okay.
Now, what Rahul Gandhi is saying is, instead of getting cheated by the claimed achievements of others, Look into your own lives. Your lived experiences are much better. Hold the governments and political parties accountable based on your lives and based on your future. That is the significant change that is happening. Still, I am telling you, Congress people might win all 5 states on 3rd December, but keep your head down. Our battle is not over. We have a lot of work to do, and we
Right.
need to
Right.
continue on this path. Don't
Right.
get ahead
Right.
of yourself.
Absolutely. And for
Absolutely. And for that, Shyam Prasadji, definitely. I mean, see, the sentiments that you are echoing, the examples that you gave, there are several voices that are questioning and challenging them as well. But for Rahul Gandhi per se, or for that matter, Congress, to come up as a very tangible and sizable opposition, be it via India Alliance, be it independently, what steps do you think as of now, from here on, from December to April to May of next year, if you could share with us some strategies that Congress would be working on?
Obviously, I'm not. But see, this is the
yeah.
general.
Yes.
This is the general direction. This is the general direction. You look at it
Okay.
Okay.
now. We want to bring the constitutional values like um, social justice to the center of the political discourse, not the empty slogans. We are working
Okay.
out with
Okay.
various parties and within Congress party also. That's the beauty of Congress. Congress will have every spectrum of thought in it. We are trying to find that balance within the party and within the political ecosystem of the country. And that's what we are going to do, and that will come out, that will bring out an agenda for the battle lines for 2024. That battle
2024.
lines
Okay.
are
Okay.
about
Right.
Rahul Gandhi, or it's not about Congress party. For us, the battle lines are clear. We Indians
Okay.
Okay.
need to decide who we are, what kind of society we want to be, what kind of people we want to be. Do we want to be chest thumping, fist pumping, jingoistic nation, hate filled, and self-appraising all the time, or do we want to be a matured nation and a civilization that leads the world, and while loving all the people, while hating some of our people? Do we want to say proudly Bharat Mata ki Jai, or do we want to open Mohabbat ki
Right.
Dukaan
Right.
to include everybody in India? That is the question in front of India for the 2024 battle. And we are going to
Right.
draw that
Right.
line very, very clearly.
Right. Shyam Prasadji.
Obviously, the image and the beating that BJP faced at the hands of opposition during campaigning was mainly on the factors of religious divide. And that is something that BJP also knows, that in turn it works for them as far as the northern part of the country is concerned. With Telangana coming to BJP, with Telangana coming to Congress's kitty, do you believe that the major forces to reckon with against the BJP would emanate from the south in 2024?
Yeah, some thoughts are emanating from south, but
Okay.
forces are emanating from north as well.
Nah.
North.
Okay.
I
Okay.
am not so pessimistic about northern India. Yes, there are, see, hate, anger, these are quick emotions. It is easy to capture people with those emotions, while love and hope will take time. Okay,
Right.
but we
Right.
are ready. But the important thing is, if Congress getting Telangana, the important thing is, this is a major case study that Congress is wresting back power from a regional player. It's okay, we will fight with BJP, that is happening. But
Right.
Congress in many states, once it slipped to third position or it loses power to a regional, strong regional player, it almost never recovered in the recent memory. Right? That's
Right.
why
Right.
our recovery in Telangana and our recovery going to be in Mizoram is a very, very, very strong signal, and that's going to actually change the political landscape of the country.
Right.
Right. Sham sir, one final question before I let you go is, now that the decks are cleared and barring the state of Rajasthan, as of now, Congress has a decent performances. If these are the exit poll numbers are something to go by, we will have to wait and watch what happens on December the 3rd. But from here on, is if Congress, tastes average or maximum victory in these elections, do you believe that that would be the final push that Congress needed just before the elections?
I would say not the push. Congressmen and women, don't get arrogant. Don't get arrogant. Keep your head down.
Okay.
Continue.
That's your
That's
message.
your message.
Yeah.
So obviously
not letting this power beat coming in Karnataka, beat in Telangana. I mean, the focus obviously 2024. But obviously, the challenge with the BJP is it not going to be easy. January 2024, Ram Temple would come, and as it is understood, BJP would be going to the town saying that they got it done, which was not done for the last 50 to 60 years. Then the talk of new parliament. So how does Congress also plan to tackle that narrative of the BJP when it comes to mass appeals?
Change that is happening, a lot of people are not recognizing it is, Congress is no more afraid to actually take BJP head on. It's okay. Congress nowadays is not, earlier Congress is afraid. Oh, we say this thing, they're going to polarize, they're going to do that, this. Now this is no more happening. There are voices in Congress. No, don't worry, people will see through. Speak the truth. That is the line in which Congress is going on. And for example, I will tell you, take a couple of years ago, Congress people were afraid at BJP's campaign machinery. As Bharat Jodho started, they started attacking the T-shirt. Do you actually observe? Rahul Gandhi is still in that T-shirt.
Right. Absolutely. You're right.
Come attack us. Instead of you. People are seeing the hollowness in your criticism.
Right.
Game is over. While Congress and Rahul Gandhi are giving them the usual traps so that they continue their divisive and nonsensical agenda, while we are talking about the people's issues. For example, recently also, what did they take up in Rahul Gandhi's speech? He's talking about so many people's issues, and they are talking about, they took a bit and saying, he's asking who is Bharat Mata. Did he?
Right.
People have seen through all this.
I have, you're right. I mean, I was speaking to Supriya Srinidhi when she was in Jaipur, and she told me categorically that
now the time has come to reply to BJP or any opposition in the same coin. So what you are talking about, I fully understand about a changed stance from the Congress as far as taking on the opposition is concerned.
The simple thing is, what Congress party believes in, don't be defensive about your own values. You don't need to be. That's what BJP and RSS were successful for the past decade. That's what they did. I'm sad to agree that a lot of Congress, my fellow Congress persons, fell into that trap.
So aggression is the key, basically.
Not aggression. Having a strong belief in what you believe. And believe in the people that they'll see through. You don't need to be aggressive like BJP. You don't need to shout from the rooftops. Stick to what you believe. Don't let BJP drive your agenda, and people will see through. That's about it.
Well, that's what looks like Shyam Prasad ji, at least in the states of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. It has worked. I mean, as so long as the Congress kept its head down and let the people and the work do the talking. Thank you so much, Shyam Prasad ji, for talking to One India News. Always a pleasure to speak to you, and we definitely hope to speak to you on 3rd of December. So please take time out for One India also. Thank you so much. Now, as the evening progresses, we are joined by Dhananjay, a noted cephalogist, a number cruncher, and someone who would help us understand how these numbers can be interpreted, how critical and credible also, if I may say so, because in the years gone by, we have seen political parties and the Janta Janardhan has thrown up many surprises. Dhananjay, thank you so much for speaking to us. Let's begin with Rajasthan. And well, I chose this state, to begin with because alternating governments is what Rajasthan has been throwing up. Be it Jan Ki Baat, TV9 poll strat, Times Now, ETG, or the average poll of polls, it is giving BJP the numbers, the required numbers of around 102 to 120, which takes them beyond the halfway mark of roughly 99 or 100. And Congress, this time around, Ashok Gehlot, 70 to 89, failing to make that mark. Do you believe that this alternating trend would continue in Rajasthan, or is it just the nature, or did Ashok Gehlot fail to read the writing on the wall?
Rajasthan is particularly interesting this time because if you look at the pre-poll surveys and if you look at what's happening in Rajasthan, this time round for the first time, there was this whole expectation that this 3-decade-old trend of alternating governments will be broken, and Ashok Gehlot could actually come back. He's had the unfortunate reputation of being a chief minister who always loses an election. So this time around, at the age of 72, 73, he could have changed this record. And one of the reasons was, of course, the way the Congress somehow managed to control faction and fighting between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot. But the bigger reason I think was also that there was the absence of Vasundhara Raje Scindia at the helm of affairs, and it is quite clear that many of her loyalists who didn't get tickets have also contested as rebels. So that could have been a factor. But the sense that one gets is that as ticket distribution went on, the Congress bungled up about 25, 30 tickets where they have given tickets to candidates who were not really on the field, people who were 80 odd years old. One of the candidates apparently was in the ICU when he got a ticket, and he also unfortunately passed away during the campaign. That's why the election happened only in 199 seats. So this kind of finally self-sabotage kind of a story of the Congress could actually cost it the opportunity to break this trend. It's clearly advantage BJP if you look at the polls, but I would still say, given the absence of Vasundhara Raje Scindia and all the other factors, it might be too close to call.
You're right. I mean, the numbers also
pointing in Rajasthan, possibly since I spent some time also over there. Looks like it is going to be a tough one there. Dhananjay, stay with us. We are also joined by Professor Sanjeev Ratan Singh, political commentator, Dean, Times School of Media, Bennett University. Sanjeev, thank you so much for speaking to us, and always a pleasure to host you. Needless to say, for our viewers, we have worked together earlier in my very earlier careers. Thank you, Sanjeev, for once again taking time out. What Dhananjay says as of now, when it comes to the critical case of Rajasthan, the loss for the Congress there is not just because of an alternating government trend that has been there in Rajasthan. Do you believe Ashok Gehlot could have done a few things better in order to maybe buckle this trend after 3 decades?
That's a very tough question because I think Ashok Gehlot has tried every trick in the book to make sure that he comes back to power
comes back.
Change the trend which we have witnessed for the past 3 decades, where BJP and Congress have been sharing power. I think more or less I agree with Dhananjay ji on most of the points that when the campaign started, it seemed as if Congress had the edge. But I think by the end of it, the BJP somehow managed to get their house in order and get things going on the ground. And there seemed to be a little bit of overconfidence on part of the Congress in Rajasthan, at least. And that I think seems to have cost them a lot. Plus, BJP's rule book is very clear that when it comes to anti-incumbency, they just they change their candidates in the elections. So they've done that. Congress also tried to do
Right.
it, but they were neither here nor there. So therefore, that situation arose. Then, of
Right.
course, there are smaller parties which play a very important part. Each election, we see about 20 odd seats going to these smaller parties. So there seems to be better coordination of BJP with these smaller parties,
Right.
which seems to be giving BJP the edge as of now. So I would say it's a close call, but I think BJP somehow
Right.
seems to have got their act together right in the end. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
historically, I think the what results of the past 3 decades show, we will have to give an edge to the BJP.
BJP itself. But definitely, that's
That's
the
the benefit of doubt, as you say, in cricketing parlance also. Dhananjay, talking about Madhya Pradesh now, that the figures coming out from there obviously pointing to a hung assembly. Obviously, Congress trying to bounce back into power with, what happened with Kamal Nath in 2020, and now Shivraj Singh Chauhan, still the numbers tilting in favor of BJP there in Madhya Pradesh, but looks like a tight contest, a neck and neck there in Madhya Pradesh.
Right, indeed, because I was personally, after getting ground news reports from Madhya Pradesh, was of the opinion that the Congress will pull it off. And there
right.
were two or three major factors behind it. One was that in ticket distribution, this time Kamal Nath was in full control. So faction infighting wasn't there the way we saw faction infighting in 2018, where Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh were on one side, and Jyotiraditya Scindia uh, finally managed only about 30 odd seat tickets in his Chambal Gwalior area, and the rest were all Kamal Nath's call. This time around, there was no such factor. The Congress party was more united, so to say. The second reason was that there was an element of fatigue with Shivraj Singh Chauhan's government. Right from 2014 up until date, there have been more and more scams and things going wrong, and those attacks on tribals, on Dalits, etc., were all popularized by the Congress's social media cell, and ultimately there seemed to be a negative sentiment against Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Shivraj Singh
The
Chauhan.
final factor that I was looking at was that as many as 40 leaders who left the Congress and switched sides towards the BJP with Jyotiraditya Scindia went back to
Right.
the Congress. Now,
Congress.
I would like to say that Jyotiraditya Scindia is one of those few leaders who are really popular in their own region. So, Gwalior Chambal region, he's like a superstar, like the Huddas in Jhajjar Rohtak, for instance. So, he's a
Right.
regional star in that sense. And even though he's so popular, people who had stayed with him chose to go back to the Congress. So that meant that there was some groundswell. But on the other hand, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is, if I may say so, one of the most street smart leaders you see today in today's politics. So although he wasn't really announced to be the chief minister for the fourth time, because that would have
Right.
maybe affected a lot of equations, but he is a very, very smart politician, and the way the BJP worked, putting in ministers, senior leaders like Narendra Singh Tomar and others to contest with Han Sabha, I think ultimately
Right.
it has worked to the BJP's advantage, and that is why Madhya Pradesh today, if you look at the exit polls, seems to be going towards the BJP. If I were to pick the polls with a better track record, so to say. On the other
You're right.
hand,
You're right.
if I were to put my money on either party, I would say it's again a close call. And I'm just surprised because if this is the case, then it's very unfortunate for the Congress because they have actually lost a great opportunity that they had.
Right.
Madhya
Right.
Pradesh is one of the strongholds of the BJP, and breaking into that would have given them a big boost for 2024. And if they've lost
Right.
it,
Right.
it's certainly a big loss for them.
Right,
Right,
Sanjeev,
Sanjeev,
too early to
too
call
early to
Madhya
call
Pradesh as
Madhya
of
Pradesh
now,
as of
and
now,
also
and also, in this election season of promises and guarantees, do you believe that the last minute push from the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government, be it the Ladli Behna Yojana, do you think it will sail it through just past the magic figure in Madhya Pradesh?
Oh, I would say that it's still close, but if I have to choose one party between the two, again, unfortunately, it will be the BJP, because as Dhananjay ji said that, this was the best opportunity for the Congress party to make its mark in Madhya Pradesh. The
Right.
infighting was so-called very limited, because most of the infighting, the people who were infighting had moved out. And the fact that some of the leaders who moved with Jyotiraditya Scindia to BJP came back actually was an indicator that the Congress was on a very strong wicket. We even saw Digvijay
Right.
Singh carry out, his election campaign on those 66 seats, which where they thought that they were very weak. He actually covered almost 100 of those seats. And like he had done in the 2018 election, where he went to do the Narmada Parikrama, there were a lot of expectations and hope from the so-called Jai Viru duo of the Congress party. But, as Dhananjay ji has pointed out, that Shivraj Singh Chauhan, is a person who can carry other leaders with him. And I think
Right.
he showed a lot of accommodation when it came to ticket distribution and the general campaigning that was done. He even lived with the fact that there has been no official chief ministerial candidate of the BJP that's been announced in the campaign. So I think there was a sense of purpose in the BJP that we've lost ground. We need to cover. We need to work together as a team, and we need to make sure that we have an even keel against the Congress, because remember, they are dealing with people like Digvijay Singh and Kamal Nath in the Congress party. If these two actually get a free hand to run Madhya Pradesh, then it could be a major problem for the
Right.
BJP. But
uh-huh.
historically, we've seen that the BJP has had very strong roots in Madhya Pradesh. Even
In
now,
Madhya
if
In
Pradesh.
you look
Madhya Pradesh.
at the polling percentages, etc., that
Right.
actually they do very well in almost 130 odd seats. It's only the 100 seats where they don't do that well. So I would say that I will still give benefit of doubt to BJP in this close
All
contest
right.
in Madhya Pradesh.
Obviously, and
Obviously,
thrown
and
in
thrown
is the
in is
popular.
the popularity of Mamaji. I mean, obviously a tough challenge there for the Congress at least to make to those last extra miles. One key state, both Dhananjay and Sanjeev, which draws our attention is Telangana. Now, uh, 9 years of rule by BRS since the formation of the state of Telangana in 2014 until now, when Congress appears to be with almost all the pollsters that have been, as of now, showcasing the numbers, Congress, on an average, marking it to 57 to 66 in 119 seats of Telangana. BRS slipping down to 40 to 49. BJP very distant, 5 to 8 seats on an average. Only Jan Ki Baat has taken them into the two figures there. What worked for Congress as far as the state of Telangana is concerned? I won't say a new, playground for Congress, but still, Dhananjay, how do you read these numbers for Congress and BRS both?
The big takeaway of this election, after the whole possibility of Congress breaking the trend in Rajasthan, the big takeaway from this election is Telangana, because if the Congress has actually managed to be in the fight and too close in the fight, and in fact, if you look at polls, they might well end up forming the government. That is going to be a big boost for the Congress. Now, the BRS, on the other hand, is a party that has come out of a movement. So there were very high expectations, of course, with KCR. Now, certainly things didn't go the way they were expected, 10 years of anti-incumbency, etc. But if you look at it, what has happened is the MIM hasn't really grown the way it was growing in the last 6, 7 years. So it seems to be again restricted to Hyderabad, Nizamabad, kind of urban pockets. On the other hand, if you look at the BJP, last Lok Sabha, one big takeaway for the BJP was that it's doing well in Telangana. In fact, many star candidates of the BRS were actually got a run for their money, and the BJP was doing very, very well. Now, the BJP has also not done well in this election. That's pretty clear. And these two factors together have given a boost to to the Congress. So, consolidation of Muslim votes, consolidation of Reddy votes, and capitalizing on uh, the failed promise of the TRS, so the TRS, which is now the BRS, so to say, seems to have worked to the Congress's advantage. And if they actually get a majority and form the government, it is going to be a big boost for them because then they are in power in two states of South India. Out of the five states, they are in power. They're going to be in power in two states, and then of course they are in alliance in Tamil Nadu. So they will be very well placed in South India for the 2024 elections. So that's going to be a big factor in this election.
Right. Sanjeev, two things that come from here. First, obviously, the
infighting within the BJP, the kind of changes that were being made. Telangana BJP chief was changed, Bandi Sanjay was moved out, in came G. Kishan Reddy, that too with some sort of speculations. That's one factor that could have aided, or I would like to know from you how that impacted the fortunes of BJP or maybe helped Congress. And secondly, the role of AIMIM, Asaduddin Owaisi, I mean, his role and his party is positioning in Bihar Assembly elections or other state elections have at times played the role of, cutting the votes for the incumbent government. Do you believe something of this sort also played out?
The larger thing was happening because, as Dhananjay has pointed out, we had the GHMC elections in 2020, and that's where we saw the real spurt for the BJP. They did really well. They almost gave a fright to the TRS, which is now the BRS. And, there was this talk that BJP is going to just sweep the state by the time the elections come. But what we're actually seeing that, when the campaign started, I spoke to a few people. And it was surprising that, they were saying that, actually the Congress is doing well. And then, on doing some more research, there seems to be this perception gaining ground in Telangana that, all the other parties like the BRS, AIMIM, BJP, they all seem to be having some sort of a tacit understanding to keep the Congress out. And therefore, what could have happened is that this election could have become something like Congress versus the rest election. And in that case, and as Dhananjay just pointed out, that the minority consolidation has played a major role for the Congress party if they do well in this election. So, that kind of a feeling when it comes in, and coupled with the fact that you have somebody like KCR as the chief minister, who spent most of his time trying to stifle, demonstrations and protests which were happening. So, for a state that is born out of these kind of protests, to see that the leader is actually trying to muzzle the same thing by not providing infrastructure, but to muzzle these things. So I think that has been a major drawback for the BRS. And the fact that this perception that, everybody wants to keep the Congress out seems to be working in favor of the Congress. And if they do form the government, as Dhananjay said, there is no doubt that it will be a big shot in the arm for the Congress party before the 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Dhananjay Joshi and Sanjeev Ratan Singh. Thank you so much
for sharing your expertise and inputs on the exit poll numbers. Needless to say, 3rd of December will be the time when the writing will be clear on the wall. But thank you for all the panelists to have joined us, and also we'll be back with the figures, with the initial trends start coming from December 3rd, the morning, and we hope to see all of you there on this platform, One India News. Thank you so much for watching.